Okay, Mr. Smith, Mr. Uhelski, Ms. Knight, Mr. Atkins, and Ms. Love. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Holdwinger, good morning. Good morning, madam. Okay. Okay, all right, okay. No, I just want to make sure you got acknowledged. All right, okay. All right. All right, so councils, from last night, the court has in the face of immediate danger, these circumstances can merit introduction into evidence, and it cites for that proposition United States versus Vasquez, 763 Fed APPX 136 Second Circuit, and also United States versus Mitchell, 726 Fed APPX 498. In taking a look at Pitts, that was the first case where our Supreme Court, Chief Justice Sears, writing for the court, basically adopted the majority view of depending upon that these types of calls need to be made or determinations need to be made on a case-by-case basis. The court, in taking a look at the phone calls from 1 through 5, is of the opinion that they fall within the excited utterance category. But Mr. Weinstein, I'll let you perfect your or if you have any additional argument on the issue, I'll be more than happy to consider it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You got 5 minutes.
I won't need 5 minutes, Your Honor.
All right, okay, all right.
You can put the timer on. Regardless of whether the calls are an excited utterance, and I understand how the court could see that, given certainly perhaps calls 1 and 5, there's still the issue of Pitts and Crawford. The calls are testimonial in nature.
How are they testimonial in nature? Here's why. Let's have a conversation.
Sure.
Have a conversation.
Love it.
This is a 911 call, a citizen-initiated call, and it is somebody who is in a state of mind telling about somebody who needs medical attention. And it's clear that from the call, from those series of calls, that's what was undergoing at that point in time. So it's different than if you were to like initiate or take an interview of somebody. These are citizen-initiated calls. So why would you say that they're testimonial in nature?
Okay, I agree with everything you've said as to the nature of the calls, but all those calls are taking place. And if you look at Pitts, one of the tests is it a call after a completed violation of the law? And
but that's only one issue. The issue is, what was the call made for the purpose of? It was made for the purpose of seeking medical attention. So you're reading it too, sir. It's an or.
I disagree that
Okay,
that it's an or. I understand the
All
court's
right.
position.
Or is
So,
disjunctive, right?
an or is
So that means I could,
disjunctive.
well.
I do remember my schoolhouse rock.
I do remember the or may not necessarily be disjunctive, but in this case, I'm going to read it as a disjunctive.
I understand, but as I read the or in Pitts, and I saw it as either a completed violation of the law or to assist law enforcement in apprehension of the perpetrator. It seems to me that, or sorry, not the or there, but I think these were made in order to report a completed violation of the law, which is one of the tests under Pitts. They're to assist law enforcement in apprehending a perpetrator. They clearly have testimony in there. And
That's the primary purpose of that particular call. The primary purpose of that call, you can tell just from the nature of the call, is that you got a shooting. You got somebody who is very insistent on getting an ambulance there, and they're talking to the person that's been shot, which is a present sense impression. So how can you say that that's for the purposes of, for the primary purposes for prosecution?
But how can you say that when you look at Pitts's test of reporting a completed violation of the law, that that's not what's going on there? They're not under present danger, which is another one of the, I believe, tests in Pitts. They're not in immediate peril at that point. So that's not what the call is for. And I'm worried, I'm a little concerned that I want to make sure we keep hearsay and the confrontation clause issues separate, because I understand that what you're saying about excited utterance, which is a hearsay issue, but I don't believe that's a confrontation clause issue.
Carlson goes on to discuss, and there are several cases that bear this out. Do excited utterances violate Crawford versus Washington, which is 541 U.S. at 36, 2004. The Crawford decision requires that most evidence employed by the prosecution in a criminal case must be cross-examined. Since the excited utterance speaker in Rule 803.2 situations is generally not cross-examined, does the admission of his or her statements violate Crawford? No. Not if the speaker was in the middle of the crime situation and calling 911
Exactly.
for help. And that's it's like Dixon versus State, 996, I guess second at 1271. So, and then it's distinguishing from narrative statements made to the police, which would in fact need to be tested under a confrontation clause analysis.
Okay, Your Honor, I understand, but they are not, and I think one of the words you used was, or one of the phrases was, were they in the middle of a crime situation? They're not in the middle of a crime situation. This is the aftermath, a tragic aftermath of the crime. You can listen to one of the 911 calls. The car has already sped off. They're not in danger. The crime is completed.
How do you know that?
The crime is, they've left. The crime is completed at that point.
They sound like, that's just one factor, sir. I think you're reading it too narrowly. But
Well, we can go back to Mr. Carlson and what that phrase you used that was in Mr. Carlson's book. And they are not in the midst of a crime. The crime is over at that point, Your Honor. If you'd like to limit me to 5 seconds, I'm happy to move on to a 403 analysis at this point, Your Honor. Although I still maintain there's a confrontation clause issue with all 5 calls. I won't concede that.
oh, sure, and sir, I wouldn't expect you to do so either. And I will note that is your certainly your position.
And Your Honor, I'd point out.
Let him finish, and I'll let you argue now. Okay, all right. Okay. Still, I think it's an or, and I think that is enough for reading.
I understand.
And I under 403 analysis, certainly I'll note your objection that these calls are certainly more prejudicial than probative, but they are probative in this particular circumstance. So
Okay, if I can discuss 403 just a little bit, Your Honor.
sure.
Let's just look right at the fifth call. Okay, we can look at that one. There is nothing of probative value in the fifth call. All that you hear for over 5 minutes in the fifth call are people desperately urging
telling the
Donovan Thomas.
Seaton to hang on. But it's
What's the probative value of that, Your Honor?
well,
Other than the tragedy of his death.
well, we don't know that. We don't.
You can listen. You listened to the call.
Yeah, I did.
I don't mean to ask you questions, but
No,
as long as we're having a dialogue.
I did. Yes, sir.
I don't see any probative value of that, Your Honor, none. And when you look at that fifth call on top of the other four, it's certainly cumulative. Why do you need all 5 of these 911 calls? Why isn't that cumulative?
Well, they also in the fifth call, isn't Donovan Thomas nut? Isn't that his?
He's not, yes.
Well, then that's definitely one reason that they probably want to go ahead and get that.
Well,
in,
then
that identifies him as nut I mean, and then later potentially the decedent in this case.
Are they going to have no other evidence that identifies that man as nut? I think
I don't know, but
if they'd like to concede that they have no other evidence than the fifth call that identifies the decedent as Donovan Thomas as peanut or nut, then I can understand that. But it's going to come in over and over and over again that the decedent is Donovan Thomas. So even if you give that they say nut at some point in the fifth call, and honestly, I can't remember one way or the other.
It's near the end. It's near the end of.
But you got 5 minutes of people desperately urging Mr. Thomas to hold on. It's highly prejudicial and it's cumulative. You've got the other 4 911 calls in there.
All right, I'll ask the state to distinguish that. But sir, okay.
Do you really need all 5?
Okay. I'll ask them that question.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate you hearing me this morning.
All right, you're very welcome. All right, Ms. Lowe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the court's interpretation of the calls and the state's estimation is exactly correct. Each call is an effort to get assistance for a man who is dying. So the emergency remains ongoing, contrary to my colleague's distinction in terms of the crime itself. There's a person there who is still trying to hang on. And as far as the cumulative nature of the calls, Your Honor.
What's the difference between 1 and 5? Calls 1 and 5 seem to replicate the same kind of thing, but can you distinguish why the jury would need to hear both?
Yes, Your Honor. In 1, they're telling the 911 caller is giving sort of a description of where they are. We're right here in front of Castleberry. They're asking for aid.
Directions.
They're giving back, right. Okay. Just 1 second, Your Honor. In the first call, they say that they're at Northside and McDaniel, and they are describing that they're at a particular location. They are, of course, trying to get help, and they're just saying Northside and McDaniel. By the time you get down to the fifth call, since that's the 2 that we're distinguishing, we have the difference is you have the caller speaking to Mr. Thomas. You have the additional description. We're right here in front of Castleberry. They're naming particular landmarks that are relevant. We have multiple people who are around. We think it's as powerful what is not said as what is said. The fact that there are at least 5 calls that come in. The jury is going to hear from Detective Thorpe and others what they were and were not able to get from people on scene. We believe that the calls are necessary to paint the picture of exactly what is happening at that time for the jury. There are a number of people standing around. By the time you get to the end of the police sort of investigation on scene, you see that they come away with very few, if any, people who are willing or able to step forward and say what they saw and what happened. The state has the burden of proof. So to say that we don't need these calls because they are about, I guess, the same thing, or they're doing the same thing, is it's not taking into account the fact that we have to prove each of these things beyond a reasonable doubt. So every witness that we have, every call that we have, and the information that we're trying to put up is for the jury to be able to understand the facts of each of these situations as they occurred, and to get the fullest picture possible of what happened at a particular scene. So our argument is that there is different information in each of the calls. There is a different person, there's a different descriptor, and there is no substantially more prejudicial impact that these calls can have than the fact that the man actually died. So for it to be excluded, or for something to be excluded under the extreme remedy of 403 exclusion, Your Honor, it should have substantially a more prejudicial effect than probative. And the mere fact that Mr. Weinstein asserts that we don't need it is contrary to what I'm certain we'll hear in the end when the argument becomes the state hasn't met its burden. So every opportunity that we have to prove up relevant parts of this case, we're asking the court to allow us to do that.
All right, well, there comes a point where it is cumulative. I agree with you in this particular circumstance that call 1 does give directions, call 5 does give directions, but also gives more pertinent information about what's going on.
Yes, Your Honor.
And efforts for them to go ahead and get emergency services for
Mr. Thomas.
For Mr. Thomas.
And there were also 2 other people who were shot as well, Mr. Sanders and Mr. Hendrick,
okay,
who are needing assistance as
all
well.
right.
And so if the court wants for me to go through 2, 3, and 4 as well.
I'm good.
I'm just going to respond briefly about call 5. The state gives away the reality of their position when the state says call 5 is powerful, which is another word for highly prejudicial. It is powerful because it is so unfairly prejudicial to the defendants in this case, Your Honor. There is no need whatsoever. It is duplicative of the other calls. It is unfairly prejudicial, and it is cumulative. There is no reason for call 5, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm going to overrule your objection. I'm going to note your objections for purposes of the record.
Thank you.
But assuming the state can lay the foundation, I'm going to admit the calls. Anybody else?
I have something. Good morning again, sir. Your Honor, there was a part where, and I don't know what he's saying, it's indecipherable to me, but it seems like
Which call, sir, are you talking about? Are you talking about calls, or are you talking about another issue?
calls?
Okay, all right, okay. Which call to begin with?
That's, well, one moment, Your Honor. It's in the first call, 2YA.
I'm being told by the Honorable,
To Yankee Alpha?
yes.
Okay, all right, sir.
I can't make out the words.
In terms of what?
In terms of what is being said, it doesn't make a flowing, comprehensive communication, but I do hear Jackson. And there's a gentleman that the state is arguing is in a conspiracy with Mr. Williams, who is on trial with us, named last name Jackson, and Jackson Stillwell or Jackson. And I'd like that to be removed. That you can.
I don't think so. I don't think that's going to get removed.
Okay, well, I'd like it to be removed under 403 because I find it to be lacking in any probative value, and it's prejudicial because we're in a alleged.
But it's a potential one admission, one a excited utterance, and 2 it may be an identification of somebody. Now, whether or not the jury believes that, but the circumstances themselves lead it so that particular circumstance would, can be played.
If it's an identification, wouldn't that go to, we need cross-examination?
No, because it's not, the primary purpose of the call is not, is a citizen initiated call. It's not a police initiated call.
Well, I don't think that's a distinction without a difference, because to me, an indiscernible just word Jackson or Steele or any name, Ruth, it's without context, it's just totally prejudicial. And then if the state wants to argue, hey, I'm not saying they would do this, Miss Love would do it, but no one else. But if they said, hey, that means it's an identification, we're going to come to you and ask for a mistrial, because that's not the evidence. And you're going to say, well, yeah, shouldn't have done that, but it's up to the jury. I'm trying to prevent that.
All right. Ms. Love, anything?
Judge, I'm not even sure what that was. Mr. Steele's interpretation of what excited utterances are made on the 911 call are of no consequence. They don't make it any less of an excited utterance. And his assertion that they might think that it's Jackson that's being said or whatever it is it still doesn't speak to the admissibility of these calls and their content.
All right. Mr. Steele, anything else, sir?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, I'm going to note your objection first, sir. Anybody else? Okay, anything else before I call for our jurors?
Your Honor, Mr. Steele is bringing over some exhibits or something he's asking us to listen to. We're kind of in the middle of doing two things, so I'd like if the court would allow us a moment to understand what he's saying and what he wants, it'd be great.
Okay. All right. Ms. Harvey, could you use your microphone? Thank you, sir.
I think I did yesterday evening, but I do want to renew my motion to sever based upon prejudicial spillover of 105 instruction with regard.
You did, and I forgot,
Okay.
sir, to again acknowledge that you have once again raised for purposes of your client severance based on the prejudicial spillover, as you've argued, and you've also asked this court for a 105 limiting instruction, which
And you have been kind enough to give me a continuing objection.
I have, but
Okay, thank you.
that's fine. Okay. Yeah, unless you opt out, it will be, yes. All right. Let's summon our jurors.
Oh, Your Honor, did you rule, because I'm objecting, I objected last night, but to the CAD reports coming in, they would be 1TA, 1T.
1T Alpha through Bravo. No, actually, and thank you for reminding me of something. Do something.
I didn't know
Miss-
you ruled yet.
No, it's 1 Tango Alpha, 1 Tango Bravo, 1 Yankee Alpha, 62 India. I said Lima, but they're actually India Alpha, and 62 India Bravo. If the state can lay the foundation, everything but the narrative can be admitted. So I'm gonna grant it in part, and I'll rule it in part.
So, Your Honor, can I have, well, first of all, I'm reading that there's 2 additional exhibits. Am I wrong for the CAD report?
Yeah, the CAD reports in general, okay, are all going to be, assuming the state, Ms. Latner comes up here, lays the foundation, talks about the codes, she's the custodian. Over your probable objection, I'm probably going to allow that, but I'm not going to allow the narrative, statements at the end
Okay, so
without some, because the state hasn't told me any excited utterance as to whether or not they actually fall within there. So I can't hear them. So, which makes a difference in context for the court.
all right, and I understood. So can I just continue, if you don't mind, a continuing objection to it coming in at all?
Yes, you can have a continuing objection.
Confrontation clause here.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I appreciate it, sir.
All right.
And I have, am I wrong? I have on this exhibit list, there are two other CAT reports that you didn't mention. You went up to 662.
No, there's additional demonstrative aids, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Steele, and since I don't have any visibility on those, we'll take those up as needed.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I just want to continue objection.
All right, it's noted. Summon our jurors, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I'm just getting my exhibit back.
All right.
Thank you. I have it back.
Your Honor, we also have not had time to review whatever is on this thumb drive that Mr. Steele brought over a second ago. So if the court would permit us to do that.
At an appropriate time?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Right.
What is it,
So
Mr.
we
Steele?
haven't.
It's, thank you for asking. It is the state put in without objection, part of police radio traffic from the 9th, 11th, 13 incident, Mr. Dotson or Mr. Bean. It's not complete. I'm completing it. Ms. Latner's here. I'll call her back. I've given all this. The state's given this to me. I don't understand how this is even taking any time. Ms. Latner's listened to it. Now the state has removed her, posted from it. I just need to get it in. Ms. Latner said it's exactly what it is. I'm going to ask her on a cross-examination, and it should not.
I believe that was asked when she was here last time.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
for the stuff that has been admitted, we don't have any problem with. The point is that Mr. Steele constantly gives us stuff without giving us an opportunity to look at it without a label on it. So
That can be argued on both sides.
it
Ms.
can,
Love, so,
but we're just asking for an opportunity to look at it.
Okay, all right, but if it purports to be, just listen to it. But I believe that Mr. Steele did ask Ms. Latner's about that when about the instance of Mr. Bean. So, I mean, she's back on the stand to be testifying. So,
All we're doing is asking for a
Okay.
chance to look at it, to listen to it.
yes, well, certainly.
All right, so jury.
Do you have your? Oh, you got your. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All jurors are present? All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, good morning.
Morning.
All right, okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case. Call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Ms. Sharon Latner to stand.
All right, summon Ms. Latner's, please. Ms. Latner's, if you once again approach the witness stand, and once you get there, if you turn and be sworn as a witness before you sit down.
You raise your right hand. You swear to affirm the testimony. Have you say this for you? Sharon Latners, SharonLatners.
Good morning, Ms. Latner, and welcome back.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ms. Latner. Now, I'm gonna approach you, Ms. Latner, with a number of CAD reports. Your Honor, for the record, I am approaching Ms. Latner with 1 Tango Alpha through Bravo, 1 Yankee Alpha through Bravo, 62 India Alpha through Bravo, 2 Yankee and 2 Yankee Alpha through Echo, Your Honor.
All right, sir.
Now, Ms. Latner, once you are able to look through those, just look up at me. and we will talk about it. Do you recognize those Ms. Latner?
I do.
And I'll start with the ones labeled 1 Tango Alpha and Bravo. How do you recognize those two documents?
They're a copy of Atlanta 911 CAD report incident.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the CAD reports for that incident date?
Yes.
And then I'll return to the exhibits marked 1 Yankee Alpha and 1 Yankee Bravo. Should be the third and 6th documents before you. Do those documents, do you recognize them?
I do.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction?
Yes.
I'm gonna turn to the 2 exhibits that are 62 India Alpha and Bravo. Do you recognize those documents, Ms. Lyons?
Yes.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the CAD reports related to that date?
Yes.
And finally, we have a document that's 2 Yankees, and then there should be a CD that's 2 Yankee Alpha. Do you see those, Ms. Lyons?
Yes, sir.
And do you recognize them?
I do.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the incident on that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state tenders and evidence states exhibits 1 Tango Alpha and Bravo, 1 Yankee Alpha and Bravo, 62 India Alpha and Bravo, as well as 2 Yankee and 2 Yankee Alpha at this time.
Let me just do it this way. Any objection or any further objections to states, 1 Tango Alpha or Bravo, that otherwise has not been noted.
Not otherwise.
Okay, I'll admit it subject to the early rulings of the court. What about 1 Yankee Alpha, 62 India Alpha, or 62 India Bravo?
I have the same answer.
All right, then the court will admit those over objection, subject to the court's earlier ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'm going to, in regards to 2 Yankee Alpha, this is a disc, but it also contains, so for the record, I'm also tendering 2 Yankee subsection Alpha through Echo, so Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo.
Any objections, I should say, to states 2 Yankee Alpha through Echo?
I have the same objection.
Okay, all right. The prior objections have been noted. The court will admit it over the over objection. And maybe publish as you see fit, subject to the court's earlier rulings.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ms. Lathers, I know that's a lot of documents. Let's start with 1 Tango Alpha. Can you tell the jury what happened, or what is 1 Tango Alpha? What is that?
It's an incident from January 6, 2015.
And how did that incident come about?
Your Honor. Objection? I'm sorry. Objection. Basis?
Confrontation clause, hearsay.
Let me take a look at the question. I'm over the objection.
Ms. Lathers, you may answer, and you may have forgotten the question. What is the nature of that call?
Unit 1111 pulled out on this call.
And what kind of call did they pull out?
Fight in progress.
What is the code for a fight in progress?
29.
And Your Honor, the state's also going to publish State's Exhibit 1 Tango Alpha. And Ms. Ladders, when you say that unit pulled out, what do you mean by that?
He advised his dispatcher to hold him out at that location. It was a fight in progress.
And this was on January 6, 2015?
Yes,
Now, what was the location that the officer pulled out to?
2517 Donnelly Harwell Parkway, Northwest Atlanta.
And Ms. Ladders, what zone and beat is that 2517 Donnelly Harwell?
Zone 1, 109 speed.
And what time, well, let me ask you this, Ms. Ladders. Is this a 911 call or officer generated CAD?
Officer generated CAD.
And what was the unit number of the officer who pulled out?
Unit 1111.
Do you know who that is, Ms. Ladders?
No, I don't.
Now, what time did this officer self-initiate this call?
02/28/42 a.m. hours.
And is the dispatch time the same time as you started the call on CAD report?
Yes,
Is that because it's self-initiated?
yes.
And Ms. Ladders, what time did that officer clear that call?
03:55:22 a.m. hours.
And Ms. Ladders, for this type of call for a 29 fight progress, what type of priority does that call have in the APD?
Prior to 3 calls, 20 minutes response time.
Ms. Ladders, I'm going to turn to 1 Tango Bravo. Now, Ms. Ladders, is 1 Tango Bravo, is this the same date?
Yes,
And I'm gonna publish 1 Tango Bravo. What was the call type and description for this call, Ms. Ladders?
2969, which is the domestic fight and weapon involved.
And what is the location for this cat?
2517 Donnelly Harwell Parkway, Northwest.
And is that the same location as the cat report we just discussed?
Yes,
What time was, and let me ask you this before I ask that, was this a officer generated or 911 call?
911 call.
What time was the 911 call made?
02/29/15 a.m. hours.
When were officers dispatched after that 911 call?
Dispatched at 02/31/57 a.m. hours.
And what time does that indicate that that call was cleared?
03/52/44 a.m. hours.
Now, Ms. Ladders, if you turn back to 1 Tango Alpha that we just discussed, how close in time is this incident cleared in relation to the one we just discussed when we started?
What time it cleared?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, one cleared at 03:52, one cleared at 03:55, 3 minutes apart.
And Ms. Ladders, if you look at these CAD reports, do they reference one another, as in related calls, or do they not?
Yes, they do.
And can you explain how CAD reports, how it comes to be that they're related, or how is that, what determines if something is related?
But they have the same address. So the dispatch automatically knows that they coincide together, they related to each other. So to keep a record of the incident, she just relayed 0299 to 0294 and 0294 to 0299, so they can have a record of it.
And you, Ms. Ladders, do you know, is it that location, 2517 Donnelly Hollowell, is that a residence, a business, do you know?
I don't know.
And where do they reference one another in CAD reports?
When you come down, it says police. In the middle of the CAD, it says police, then it has 15006-0294. That's police 15006-0299.
Now, Ms. Ladders, I'm going to turn to State's Exhibit 1 Yankee Alpha. What is the date for 1 Yankee Alpha, Ms. Ladner?
January 8th, 2015.
What was the call type and description for that case?
It was 25 shots fired.
What type of priority does a shot fired have within APD?
On here it shows prior to three, with 20 minutes response.
What is the location for the shot fired call?
988 Confederate Court, Southeast Atlanta.
Ms. Ladders, do you know what type, if it's a residence or business at 988 Confederate Court?
I don't know.
And was this call, Ms. Ladders, was it a 911 call or self-initiated?
Self-initiated.
What was the time that this call was self-initiated?
0038:30 a.m. hours, which is 12:38 a.m. hours.
From what time was this call cleared, Ms. Ladders?
It shows 02:25:33 a.m. hours.
And Ms. Ladders, what is a 20-minute response time? What does that mean?
It means that the dispatcher have 20 minutes to get the dispatch, to give that call out to a unit. But since this was self-initiated, the system put this priority times on itself.
Thank you, Ms. Ladders. What determines that in terms of how the priority is set?
It was set by APD head commanders, so they prioritize each call by call type.
Thank you, Ms. Ladders. Now, do you see the two CAD reports that start with 62 India?
Yes,
I'm gonna start with 62 India Alpha. You see that one, Ms. Ladders?
yes.
What is the date on that incident?
January 8th, 2015.
What is the call type and description?
Shot fired. 25, sorry.
No, you're fine, Ms. Ladders. What was the location for the shot fired?
675 Metropolitan Park, Southwest Atlanta.
Was this a 911 call or was this officer generated?
911 call.
What time did this 911 call come in?
23:13:02 p.m. hours, which is 11:13:02 p.m. hours.
What time were officers dispatched or arrived in response to that call?
23:14:36 p.m. hours.
Now, was this incident, does it have any related cases that are connected to it?
Yes, it's related to CAD 150083130.
What were the unit numbers of the officers who responded to 675 Metropolitan Parkway?
Unit 1307.
Now, Ms. Ladders, turning to 62 India Bravo, is that the CAD report that was related to what we just discussed?
Yes,
Is it the same date?
yes.
What was the location for that CAD report?
1064 Metropolitan Parkway, Southwest Atlanta.
What was the call type for, what came in, or what type of call were they responding to?
It was a self-initiated call, reckless driver, which is a 72.
What zone and beat was that?
Zone 3, 302B.
Now, what time was that call cleared?
It was cleared at 01:10:50 a.m. hours.
And what was the priority response time for the 72?
20 minutes.
Is that the same response time for the CAD report we just discussed for the shots fired?
No,
What was that response time?
10 minutes.
Now, Ms. Ladders, I'm going to turn to what's labeled as State's Exhibit 1 Yankee Bravo. What was the date and time that this call or this CAD report pertains to?
January the 9th, 2015.
What was the call type that generated the scan?
25 shots fired.
What was the location for this cat?
Spring Street, northwest of Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard, northwest Atlanta.
Now, Ms. Landers, what was the zone and beat for that location?
Zone 5 is 508 beat.
What time was the call received?
Call came in at 10:58:37 p.m. hours.
How quickly did officers get dispatched?
They got dispatched at 23:04:27 p.m. hours.
And what time was the call cleared?
Cleared at 23:13:20 p.m. hours.
What was the priority response for this call?
10 minutes.
Now, Ms. Landers, I'm gonna turn your attention to what's labeled as 2 Yankees, this cat report. Can you describe for the jury what was the day of this cat report?
January 10th, 2015.
What is the call type and description?
Call type up says 48 person dead, but the call came in as a 50 person shot.
Now, can you explain to the jury, when you said, can you elaborate on that? What did the call come in as?
Call came in as a 50 person shot, but once they finished investigating the call, the officer changed the signal to a person dead, 48.
What was the priority response on this call?
A priority 2.
And would the priority be, would it be set by the person shot, the 50, or would it be set by the 48 person dead?
Person shot.
Now, Ms. Landers, what was the address and location for this?
330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta.
What is the APD zone and beat?
Zone 5, 507's beat.
Now, Ms. Landers, when you look at units that responded, how many units responded to this call? And if you have the ballpark, that's all right.
I'm gonna say up to 15 units or more.
And was this generated from a 911 call or self-initiated by an officer?
911 call.
What time did the 911 call was placed?
Call came in at 07:22:20 p.m. hours.
What time were officers dispatched?
I'm sorry, correct myself. Call came in at 19:22.
Is that 7:22 p.m.?
It's 22:20 p.m.
And
Officer dispatched at 7:22:54 p.m. hours.
when does it state that officers arrived?
They arrived at 7:25:13 p.m. hours.
Now, after arriving at 7:25, what time was the call cleared?
It would clear up the next day at 12:20 a.m. hours.
Now, Ms. Ladders, when we had, the only thing up there that's with you, you see that CD disc that's not a cat report?
Yes,
Does that pertain to this cat report that we just discussed?
yes.
And what is contained on what's marked as 2 Yankee Alpha through Echo?
5 911 calls.
Your Honor, at this time, the state is going to play what's marked as 2 Yankee Alpha. All right.
Lance and I for the 604.
Yes, police over here on the north side of McDaniel.
North side of McDaniel. Why did you shoot?
Yeah. That Harold living in the barber shop. Somebody don't got shot.
Call for the ambulance, don't hang up. When mama said do not hang up. Don't hang up, sir, okay?
Who's that? Oh, he shot?
What's the address of the emergency?
God damn.
Hello, Greg EMS.
Oh, no.
Grady, call advise Northside Drive and McDaniel person shot, male shot outside of the barber shop. Okay, already. Go ahead and start firing PDM 785. Thank you. Hello?
Not the door. I mean, 911, man. I got we going. No, I'm not the first one over that key, bro. Let's go. Get down, man. Hey, man. Yeah, put it right there. You don't lock the door, man? You don't lock the door?
Hello, sir?
Get the fuck out of my house, man. Y'all niggas sit your ass down, you gonna be in hell now. Come here, man. Right there in front of the door. Hello.
was this 911 call you just listened to?
I don't know.
If you look on the exhibit that's published to your left, you see it's 5 minutes and 19 seconds. Does that sound right?
I sustain the objection, Mr. Leedy. You can rephrase, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ladner, looking at the published exhibit, do you know how long this 911 call is that we just listened to?
Improper refresh. Full rule, sir.
You may answer, Ms. Ladner.
I see 5:19.
And what was the time that elapsed between when the first 911 call was made and officers arrived to the scene of this 48 explosive shot?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Ms. Ladner, if you look at what's marked as 2 Yankees, what time can you look at and tell the jury how much time elapsed between the 911 call was made and when officers first arrived?
I'm gonna say no more than 15 seconds.
So officers between the 911 call was made and when that 911 call was complete had arrived on scene?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state at this time, thank you, Ms. Ladner, the state is going to publish was marked as 2 Yankee Bravo.
All right, sir.
Atlanta 911, I put 6478.
What address is it? Police on the address. I need your ambulance 330 McDaniel Street.
Hold on one moment, don't hang up. Hold on.
McDaniel Street.
Hold on, don't hang up. Grady EMS, what's the address of your emergency, please? Grady? He might have hung up, Grady, but he gave 330 McDaniel Street, but I think it's the same call that we just got in at Northside and McDaniel for a person shot. It might be the same thing. But he gave 330 McDaniel Street. Limited person shot, yes. Yeah. Is that what you have? Yes, ma'am. I got 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest. Hair Unlimited, person shot outside. Barbershop? Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what they were calling in regards to. Okay, yeah. They just hung up. Offer taking it. Okay. Thank you. I'm 6478.
The state is publishing what is marked as 2 Yankee Charlie.
We called.
Atlanta 911 for 6284. What's the address?
Yeah, we got a man that got shot down here on McDaniel.
Okay. Hold on for EMS. Do not hang up. Great EMS. What's the address?
Yeah, we got a man that just got shot down here at 330 McDaniel Street.
Okay, we actually already have this. Are you with the patient now?
No, I'm at the barber shop. I work in the barber shop, but he's down by the other barber shop.
Okay, can you see how old he is or anything?
He in his 20s.
Okay, is he awake?
He's black male.
No, is he awake? Is he conscious?
I don't know. They just saying call the ambulance. He's down the street from where I'm at.
Okay, do you know where he was shot?
No, I'm in the barber shop.
Okay, I understand you're in the barbershop. Okay, we're en route to him, okay?
Okay, all right.
Publishing what's marked as, or what's admitted as 2 Yankee Delta.
Atlanta 911, operator 3323.
Hi, it was just a drive-by on McDaniel Street right from the barber shop. Someone's down. I think he's been shot. A whole bunch of people going
Okay,
around here.
yes,
And
sir. McDaniel and where? Give me an address to either intersection street.
369 McDaniel Street. It's a green barber shop right across the street from me. And he's laying right in front of the barber shop.
And you
Yeah.
see Green Barbershop? Oh, there.
Yeah, a green barber shop. 369 McDaniel Street.
We have it, sir. Did you see the person? who
Okay,
shot
thank
him?
you. No, it was a car that just took off real fast.
Okay, did you get a description of that car?
I didn't.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Now, Ms. Ladders. I'm approaching you, Ms. Ladders, with for two Yankee Foxtrot 1 through 7. Now, Ms. Ladders, I'm gonna flip through these, so I'm showing you what's first been marked as 2 Yankee Foxtrot 1.
Have you shown those to councils?
Your Honor, I can. They have
All right, why don't you
smaller
show-
copies
why
of
don't
these.
you make sure you show those to them?
Yes, Your Honor. If any council wants to see, they are identical to what's been provided. There's no change.
All right, sir.
They have the changes.
Oh, yes, there is, correct. Yes, so there's.
Well, why don't
Did I
you
see the final version?
just
Yes,
show them.
yes. Of course.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
with what's marked as 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7. So Ms. Latner, does 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7, will it aid your testimony in what we have been discussing with this jury?
Yes,
And is the information contained on 2 Foxtrot 7 the information that we have discussed in the exhibits we've admitted today?
yes,
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the information that is on this exhibit with what is contained in the accompanying reports?
yes,
Your Honor, at this time, the state tenders into evidence for demonstrative purposes 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7. State's exhibit.
Any further objection to states 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7?
None other than that's already been
Okay,
stated, Your Honor.
all right, early objection's been noted. I'll admit 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7 over objection may be shown as a demonstrative activity as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, with the court's permission to make it so everyone can see, I'm gonna put this easel in this part of the courtroom, if that's all right?
Councilors, you may relocate yourselves
Thank you, Your Honor.
so everybody can see. Do you have the ability to put it on the,
Yes, Your
can
Honor.
you do that so others who are not going to relocate can do that and see it, please?
I most certainly can, Your Honor.
All right.
Ms. Latner, can you see this?
yes.
Ms. Knight, are you working on publishing that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Latner, there is a wooden pointer that's right over your right shoulder. Now, Ms. Latner, starting with, can you explain for the jury what is depicted starting with the, on this demonstrative January 6th?
You want me to do what now?
Can you, so I will, here, I'll help you, Latner, with this one. So starting here is, what was the date and time of this incident report that we discussed?
January 6, 2015.
And does this correspond with 1 Tango Alpha that we discussed?
Yes,
What is the last 3 of the APD case number?
294.
And what was the location and call time?
Objection has been answered.
Overruled.
What was the location, Ms. Latner, for this January 6th incident?
2517 Donnelly Hardware Parkway, Northwest.
And what was the call type and description?
Objection has been answered.
I'll sustain the objection.
Ms. Latner,
The sickness 29. Description is fight in progress.
Ms. Latner, after we discussed 1 Tango Alpha, you recall talking about 1 Tango Bravo
Yes,
is where this pointer, which is the second demonstrative with gray for the record, is this what we had discussed in 1 Tango Bravo?
yes.
What was the last 3 of this APD case number?
094. No, I'm sorry, 0. Last 3. It's
Yes,
2
ma'am.
299.
And is this the same location as the first call that started at 2:28 a.m.?
Yes,
Objection has been answered.
I sustain the objection.
Now, Ms. Latner's turning to this third icon that's depicted in blue, and it's January 8th at 12:38 a.m. Do you see that, Ms. Latner?
yes.
What is the last 3 for this January 8th, 12:38 a.m. call?
094.
And was that a shots fired call?
Correct.
And does that correspond with what we had discussed as 1 Yankee Alpha?
Yes,
Objection has been answered.
I'll rule that objection, sir.
Now, Ms. Latner's turning to the 4th icon, which is gray, and it's January 8th, 11:13 p.m. You see this, Ms. Latner?
yes.
Now, what is the last 3 of this APB case number?
128.
And does this correspond with what we talked about in 62 India Alpha?
Yes,
And was this a shots fired call?
yes,
Asked and answered.
I'll rule the objection, sir.
Now, Ms. Latner's turning to the fifth icon, which is January 8th, 2 minutes later at 11:15 p.m. Do you see that, Ms. Latner?
yes.
Is this the same, or what is the last three of this APD case number?
130.
And was this correspond with what we talked about at 62 India Bravo?
Yes,
And do you recall we're discussing, is this the one that pertains to came in as a 72 reckless driving?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled, sir.
unit pulled out as a 72.
Now, Ms. Latner's turning to the sixth icon, which is January 9th, 10:58 p.m. with a gray background. Do you see that?
Yes,
What is the last three of this APD case number?
290.
And what is the location and call type for this January 9th, 10:58?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled, sir.
Shots fired, Spring Street at Ivan Allen Junior Boulevard.
And it looks like, Ms. Latner, would you agree with me? It looks like there's a scribner's error above January 9th. That is the same as what's depicted as January 6th.
Yes,
But on the January 9th, 10:58 p.m. incident, that is what we talked about as 1 Yankee Bravo. What was the location and call type for that?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled, sir.
shot fired, Spring Street and Ivan Allen.
And Ms. Latner's finally with what's depicted in red as January 10th at 7:22 p.m. Do you see that, Ms. Latner?
Yes.
What was the location and call type for this?
Location is 330 McDaniel Street Southwest. Came in as a person shot.
And what is the last three of the APD case number?
106.
Do these incidents we just talked about on this demonstrative 2 Yankee Foxtrot 7, is that encompass the January 6th through 10th incidents we discussed?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Latner. Your Honor, I'm going to publish what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2 Yankee Echo.
All right, sir. Cases.
This has already been played one time, Your Honor. It's cumulative to play this again.
No, I don't.
This hasn't been played?
No, this is the last thing. The last thing. I'm gonna overrule the objection.
What was that, Mr. Steele?
Can you take that down, Mr. Jenkins? Because the folks out here can't see it.
Your Honor, resuming publishing State's Exhibit 2 Yankee Echo.
Okay.
What's the address of the emergency? They coming, right? I got you. You got it? Come on, baby. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Keep looking at me. Keep looking at me. Look at me. Stay there. You ain't. You ain't. You ain't. You ain't. You ain't. You fight. Do a G. You fight, dog. Fight, nigga. Fight. What the fuck? Fight. They called him, fam. Fight. They say you around, man. Fight, bro. Fight, bro. Come on. You alright. 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 You got something to live for. Bro, you alright, bro? You got something to live for. You got a want to live. You got a want to live. You got a want to live. Stay with me, right? Okay? You with me? You alright? Where you hit it? Where you hit it? Where you hit it? now. They're here now. Yeah. Fight, bro. You all right, bro? Fight, baby. You okay, bro? Come on, fight, bro. Your brother right here with you, bro. You okay, bro? I don't know. Bro, you okay, bro? 49, bro. You okay, bro? Got a man over here, too. You right here for the captain there. Fight, man. I'm gonna fight, bro. I'm gonna fight, bro. Fight, bro. Come on. Come on. This is God with you. God is with you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. You all right, bro? Yeah, open your eyes. You all right? Come on. You all right? Come on and fight. You okay, bro? Come on, fight. You okay, bro? Come on, open your eyes. Bro, you okay, bro? Open your eyes, bro. Open your eyes. There you go. You okay? There you go. Fight that. Come on, fight. Fight. Okay, fight. Huh? God is able. You still there? God is able. God is able. Holy shit, the fucking ambulance. God is able, Black. God is able. Okay? You hear me? Huh? Can you hear me? Please, somebody, please. Huh? We'll get a minute to first aid. We're losing. Can you hear me? Nobody got no first aid or nothing. We're losing. Okay, where you hit it? Please, man. Where you hit it? I don't know, man. Where you hit it? No, it's not. Get some towel. Get some towel. Where you hit it? That's what we're trying to find out. You have to be in the land in the back here or something. Where'd you get hit at? Listen to me. Go ahead, hey, keep breathing. Keep breathing. You understand? Keep taking breath. Where you hit that? Where you hit at? Where you hit at? Where you hit at? Where you hit at? Where you hit? Where you hit it? Huh? Where you hit? Where you hit it? Where you hit? That's what I'm trying to find out. Fight, bro. Get burned, bro. Fight, man. Please, bro. Whatever it is. They're coming, man. Where you hit? Baby, where you hit? Oh, baby, please. Who shot me? Where you at? What's that word? Let me get it. Only put them on his back. I'm not God, covered. Yeah. All right, man. I love you, dog. I love you, bro. Fight, bro. Where's the other two people shot? Are they worse than it? Where you hit it? I ain't seen that one gonna hit it. Everybody step back. What's your name? Hey, man, ready to arm. Hey, no one right now. He's for body. You have to get I'm a break here. APD. Right now. You get a long farm out the back of the truck.
Thank you, Ms. Ladder. Nothing further from the state.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin cross-examination, I want to take a comfort break, maybe about 10 minutes. Okay, all right.
All rise for the jury.
All right, we're going to be recessed 10 minutes. All rise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our jury's left us. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We're in recess.
you. Okay, oh, time to get redone. No, you cannot.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, cross. Mr. Weinstein?
I have no cause, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Steele? All right.
Thank you, Ms. Latner, for all your effort and support.
You're welcome, sir.
I'd like to show you what I've marked a thumb drive as Mr. Williams number 202. And Your Honor, it's A, B, C, D. 203,
So you say it's Jeffrey Williams, 202?
yes, and then the whole thing's 202, but then it's A, B, C, D. So it's 202A, 202B.
Alpha through what day? Through what?
David, Delta. And then 203, Jeffrey Williams Exhibit 203. And that will be A and B. Elisa Barry, Alpha Beta, Alpha Bravo.
Terrible. You keep mixing. Look, there's the Greek alphabet. We're not going to talk about the Greek alphabet. This is the military alphabet, okay? And then there's your lovely wife and all the other things that you wish to do, okay?
I
So
use my family alpha.
let's just
My
go ahead.
children, my wife.
Let's just go ahead. Let's just go. It's just simpler for the court and keeping track of it. So Alpha through Delta, and then 203 is what?
203, Your Honor.
Okay, and then what?
A, B, and so it's 203, and then there's a subset A and B. So 203A, 203B, and then 204. And then there's one subset 204A.
204 A and B.
No, just A, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So let me see if I.
But it matches his.
It's Jeffrey Williams 202 Alpha through Delta, Jeffrey Williams 203 Alpha and Bravo, and Jeffrey Williams 204 Alpha.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's what the court said. Yes. So it's 202.
So there's a 202, a 203, and a 204, and then the numerics
That's
that
right. Yes, that's
that
true.
are sought to be admitted. All right.
May I approach?
Okay. All right.
Slatners, may I approach you?
If I have a choice. You fine, sir.
I'm going to show you and put a sticker on. I'm going to show you what I marked, what I just announced. On a thumb drive, and it's Mr. Williams, exhibit number 202, and then the subparts A through D, then 203 AB, and then 204A. Have you had an opportunity to review that thumb drive, or the contents of the thumb drive, I should say?
Yes, sir.
And does that contents of the thumb drive, do you recognize what it is?
Yes.
And does it accurately depict the radio traffic from July, that's wrong, September 11th, 2013?
Yes.
And is it, to your knowledge, any changes, modifications, alterations to that radio traffic?
No.
Your Honor, I will move for the admission of Mr. Williams, exhibit number 202, and then the subsets that we announced, A, B, C, D, 203, subset A, B, and then 204, which is a subset A. So it's like the court reporter said, you have all three, 202, 203, 204, and then those subsets.
State any objection to Jeffrey Williams 202 or 202 Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta?
No, Your Honor.
All right, what about Jeffrey Williams 203 Alpha and Bravo?
No, Your Honor.
And Jeffrey Williams 204 Alpha, 204 and 204 Alpha?
No, Your Honor.
All right, they're admitted and may be published as you see fit.
And Ms. Latin, is just a question because you came and discussed part of that radio traffic previously in your testimony. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But I just wanted to put in the entire radio traffic. Is that now the entire radio traffic as far as that incident?
Objection, Your Honor, just some commentary.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection.
Is that is that the radio traffic in its entirety?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have any other questions.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Ms.
you,
Latin,
sir.
Thank you.
All right, any further defense examination?
Ms. Latners, good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Latners, you are the custodian of 911 calls and CAD records for this county, is that correct?
City of Atlanta.
City of Atlanta, correct? And you've testified in various counties and jurisdictions where City of Atlanta has brought themselves over into perhaps DeKalb County, correct?
Correct.
All right. So as the custodian for the City of Atlanta, obviously, we have listened to some 911 calls, correct?
Correct.
All right. You certainly were not present at any of these locations, correct?
Correct.
You don't know the circumstances involving any of these 911 calls that we've heard, correct?
Correct.
You don't know any stories from one side or the other in terms of how any of these events occurred, correct?
Correct.
You have basically given us a rundown of these calls, correct?
Correct.
In the calls that we heard today, you did not hear any calls in these particular ones that have been played before you this morning of any YSL. You did not hear that word or that phrase in any of those calls, correct?
Correct.
We did not hear any particular person that's sitting in this courtroom. We did not hear their name on any of those calls that we've heard that were played this morning, correct?
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor. Question.
I'll sustain the objection.
But you did hear the calls yourself, correct?
Correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, sir, thank you. Any further examiners, defense examiners? Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. May Ms. Latner's be permanently temporarily excused as a witness.
Temporary, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Latner's, we'll see you when we see you, okay? We'll give you enough time to rejoin us when that time becomes necessary. Enjoy your weekend, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you may. Gonna call. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have good news and I have kind of bad news for you, okay? Which one do you want to hear first? Okay, you're gonna have to come in on Monday, all right? That's the bad news, all right? The good news is we're finished for today. All right, okay, so we're going to, no, here, I'm gonna tell you, and let me fill in the rest of this. Paul Harvey says the rest of the story. Okay, yes, originally we were going to be off all next week. My other business that I thought I was going to be taking up I'm not taking up on Monday. So we're gonna reclaim a little time and go ahead and have a full day of work on Monday. That's now the rest of the week is still the rest of the week. You're going to get the Tuesday through Friday through the Memorial Day Monday will be off. Okay. That just happened. I just found out about today. So I shared that with council as well. So we're going to come in on Monday, and that's the only day we're going to work next week. The rest of the week will be administrative weeks. I apologize for the change in schedule, but things just happen. So because I can't conduct my other business, we're going to go ahead and just continue on. All right. So, and today, given that the length of the witness, I told you we're going to be leaving today at around noon anyways, it will far and eclipse what we're able to take care of today. So that's why we're going to stop now. It makes no sense for us to start and not finish with our witness. So I've inquired and And that's the plan at this point in time, okay? So does that answer your questions? Okay, all right. I apologize. You can blame me, give me the, as the stink eye for Monday, but we'll just work accordingly and see if we can take some more testimony on Monday, okay? So Monday will be a work day. And what time you need to report? I didn't say nothing. You're gonna say nothing. Okay, hold on. Let me just check. Council, I should say, jurors, if you could report for 9 o'clock, we'll get started by about 9:30 or thereabouts. Okay. So let's just report for 9. We'll start at 9:30. All right. For Monday. All right. Do you have any other ministerial inquiry of me, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sorry, for what? I apologize. One more time. Money. Oh. No, I don't have any. Okay. So, I can inquire of a couple of folks, Miss Amana, and I'll inquire about Miss Lon Kelch, to see. But Mr. Randolph, who you met earlier, is a person that submits that time, so we go through him. So we'll do an audit. If there's something that you have not been paid, let Violetta know, and then we can follow up from there. Okay. All right. All right. Anything else?
No.
Did you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
We left the signage for this week as well as next week.
Okay, we'll reach out to him. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Okay, it's been taken care of. Okay, all right. Yeah, I understand that we're keeping up with your days, so your remuneration can be as accurate as possible. All right. Anybody else have any other inquiry of me? Okay, let's go ahead and wrap up then, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, leave your notepads in the baskets in the back. As you leave today, please do not discuss anything that you've heard about this case amongst each other and ones and twos, or when you go home with your significant others, or any other times that you were in the presence of each other or the presence of third parties. It would be a violation for you to discuss this case or to have anything discuss this case in your presence and hearing. Remember, I told you that if anybody should try and reach out to you and this in any form or fashion, by any mode or modality, that your responsibility and duty would be to let Sergeant Ingram, myself, know immediately. Also, don't go to any third-party websites, or any other sources to get any or glean any other information about this trial. Remember, you can only consider what's been presented within the four walls of this courtroom. That also pertains to anything that you may have learned about any of the scenes maybe that have been depicted or you've learned about through testimony. It would be impermissible for you to, over the weekend, to go and visit any of those scenes or to do any things that the court mentioned to you earlier during the selection process, take pictures or anything such as that. That would be a violation of the court's admonition. So remember, you can only consider what's within presented in the four walls of this courtroom. Also, as you're sitting back there or you're leaving, it would be improper for you to recap or otherwise handicap the testimony. So you can't, as you're sitting back there, say, hey, we'll go ahead and get started. What do you think about such and such? What do you think about this testimony? And give your opinions or otherwise discuss anything that has been presented thus far. Remember, you can only do that when we get to the point in these proceedings that is authorized, and then I will give you instructions on how you to begin that particular process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing is customarily is please, and we say this, I say this, and on behalf of everybody, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience that you've given us, and thank you for the patience that you'll continue to give us. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday at 9 o'clock for anticipated 9:30 start time. Okay. All right. All rise. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our jury has left us. Okay, please be seated. Ms. Hilton, you wish to correct an exhibit? That's been brought to my attention?
I did, but I had to do it in front of the jury, but I'll do it now and then we can do it in front of the jury on Monday. Stacy Exhibit 135 Echo Charlie is now.
You all right?
Stacy Exhibit 135 Echo Charlie.
Which is,
Which were the excerpted phone records of phone number 1990
okay.
will be changed to States Exhibit 135 Echo Delta. And that's it, Your Honor.
Is that because there's two exhibits that are,
135 Echo Charlie.
and that was the one is the Sprint and one is the Cricket, correct?
135 Echo Charlie may be the,
What was it? I need to know what it was.
yes,
And
so-
what it's going to.
so 135 Echo Charlie was the excerpt that we printed out regarding the phone number 1990.
Okay.
And now there were duplicate 135 Echo Charlie. All of this pertains to the phone record ending in 1990.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and just, you can, we'll make that correction. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other minister inquiry with me, councils? Let's cover who's going to be called on Monday.
Judge, we're going to call the witnesses that we're going to call today, which includes Officer Corey Clinton Hayes, sorry.
What's his name? I'm sorry again.
Hayes, Hayes.
Officer Hayes.
Yes.
H-A-Y-S.
Hay.
S.
Oh, no E. Okay. All right. Okay.
We will also be calling Lieutenant Volley, Volley.
First name Anthony, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if the court would permit us to apprise the court of the remaining witnesses, as we had not anticipated calling witnesses on Monday, we just want to line those up and we can let the court know by 2:00 at the latest. But I think we'll be able to know as soon as we get back to the street
All right.
exactly who the other ones will be. But we'll
Okay.
have a full day on Monday, so we need to fill up that day.
All right. Have you otherwise turned over or notified your colleagues across the bar as to what exhibits that you are planning on introducing? Any video, audio?
For the ones that for the first two witnesses that we were going to do today, we had. For the ones that we will now call on Monday, we will. We have not because, okay, wait a minute, Ms. Hilton is correcting me. She's gonna stand up.
Your Honor, last week we sent a first set of exhibits that we planned on using the week after next. And so we'll just need, so they should have, ideally those witnesses will be who we'll start with on Monday. So they should have that, at least that first additional set of exhibits. And when I say set of exhibits, the pool that we're going to pull from, which are the exhibits. And then we'll be supplementing that, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Could you either just resend that or we get so many emails, so could you just identify when that was sent so I know which exhibits you're talking about?
Yes, it was sent last Friday, probably around 5:00 p.m. By me, and it was a Dropbox link, and the password was in the link.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else, councils? All right, then we'll see you all Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and we'll have a regular work day, and appreciate y'all's patience and flexibility with the schedule. So we'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, okay? All right, we're in recess. Okay.